Hi, it's Bev, back in my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're going to start coloring, and I'm just going to color my images while I talk to you. The two colors I like to use for shading, you guys know. Indigo, there we go. Indigo blue. Crimson red. And I got this new, let me just move this for a second. I got this new pencil sharpener, so I'm going to try that out. So let's see, let's plug this in. And let's see how this works. Whoa, that's perfect. Oh my. This is made for colored pencils. And it sharpens really fast. I am impressed. What? Okay, so it's a halo. I just love it. I mean, it's not sponsoring my video or anything, but I just love this halo sharpener. It's perfect. And it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's really light. Okay, so let's go back to our drawing. Okay, and I'll start with this one. And the two colors, doesn't matter which one you start with. Okay, so I color in little circles, and I'm coloring the shaded areas. And the way that this is drawn, you can really find the shaded areas pretty easily. I don't worry too much. Start light, go dark. So while I'm coloring, I'm going to tell you things that are planned for this year in my life. My husband's having a double surgery in February on his back, which actually the dates worked out perfectly because I have an art retreat I'm going to this month. And I always get a lot done at the art retreat. I guess it's because you're forced to focus on it. Like when I had my studio downtown too, I seemed to always be needing to be busy because I was there and couldn't leave it, you know, in case anybody stopped in. So I got quite a bit of work done. And it was helpful, and I was with people that I really enjoyed being with in the other little studios for the most part. But I just couldn't tolerate the feeling that I was trapped. And now here I am at home. And my word this year is diligence, because being a procrastinator, because when you're a perfectionist, that's kind of one of the traits that goes along with being a perfectionist, is that you tend to put things off because you were worried about them being perfect, which I didn't really realize, but that's what I've read. So I guess that's why I put things off. But this year, I really want to get a lot done. I'm working from home. You know, I have my little Artsystamper shop on Etsy, and I have a challenge blog, Artsystamper Digital's Challenge, which is fun. So that's gotten me busy in the stamping world, of course, because of, you know, the stamps. But I'm also an artist, and I have been putting off doing actual pieces in lieu of the online part of everything. So I want to do more art, and I am a crafter, and I need to do more repurposed crafts because we have 2 craft shows a year here where I live, and I've never gotten myself to the point where I could take part. Well, I did one year, but I didn't have a lot of stuff. It was more like a commercial for my classes, pretty much. But I'm not teaching classes here anymore because I'm really just getting to the point where I don't want to drag everything out and come home at 9 o'clock at night after, you know, doing painting and wine classes and stuff like that. My craft classes weren't really getting a big turnout anymore, so I decided no more classes. But anyway, where was I? I went off on a tangent. It's terrible. Ever happen to you? But yeah, so what was I talking about? Just, yeah, diligence. I want to be diligent. I want to get a lot done. I need to organize my time better. I need to get up earlier in the day. Take my mornings super slow. So that has to change, because by the afternoon, I'm done. Then I might get up and go in and work a bit more. But then, you know, when you have a husband who is wanting to spend time with you and he's home, you know, you get to the point where you feel kind of guilty going into another room. I need to get over that, and he tells me not to feel like that. But, you know, I can hear him out there, and, you know, then sometimes he'll say, hey, you want to have a beer? Are you ready to have a beer? I'm thinking, okay, he misses me. So anyway, I need to devote my morning time. And I, you know, even though I take it slow, I'm a morning person. I'm a happy person in the morning. Some people are quiet in the morning. That's not me. I'm not quiet in the morning. So saying all that to say, I need to change the way that I structure my day. Hey, I made a rhyme. So I want to structure my day so that I get things done. And it's going to take some planning. So, you know, so when you think about it, right, what do you want to do? What do you want to do in a year? We all have, you know, those, I guess, you know, I could make some resolutions, but then by the time the end of January comes, I'm pretty much like over it. I can't let that happen this year. Can't let that happen. Okay, so now I'm going to add my blue just to show you. I want a purpley kind of shadow color. All right, so now I'm adding the blue right over the red, little tiny circles, light, light, light touch. Light, light touch. If you were here, I would touch your hand and say, like that. But you're not here, so it's light, light. Just a light blue, little tiny movements. You don't want to press down hard on the tooth of the paper at this point. I'll lose my voice. I got a bit of a cold when I went up for Christmas to see my grandkids. No, it's mostly just a hoarseness. It's not really like a congestion in my nose or anything, or my throat, which is kind of weird. That's usually where I feel a cold first, but this is like, yeah, it's just my voice. So see how you get the purple? See how you get that purple? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so this is the shading with pencil. Yeah, so that's my word. So, you know, have you thought of a word that you think you could, you know, use as your inspiration word for the year? You know, think of something other than just, you know, the basic happy, love. You know, those are basic. Try to really think in your own life this year, what's something you really know would make a difference in your life? You know, sometimes we look back and think, oh, I really did a lousy job with this last year. I just wasn't what I should have been in this area. Maybe I need to try harder there. And it might be something that has to do with relationships or your own creative life. Anyway, enough of a lecture. Oops, I got a little strong there. So what I'm gonna do is take my Vanish eraser, which is like a multi-purpose. It says 4-in-1 eraser. I was able to actually go to an art supply store. Oops, sorry. In Connecticut when I was up there. That's where I'm from. And I went to this little store in Elmwood and was able to ask questions and able to really get some good advice on certain drawing instruments and supplies. So that was good. Yeah, so I'm excited about this year. Now, I was talking about that I wanted to do more artwork, more pieces other than computerized digital images. Although they do start out as, you know, original drawings, and then I color them, and then I sell them as digitals in my shop. I want to do more than that. And last year, I did have 2 commissions, which was fun. I'm really never done any commissioned, I do portraits, so it wasn't something that I usually will do, but the girl had come to the art festival we have here last year and asked me how much one of my pastel portraits was, and it was my daughter, and they're not for sale, they're family, and it's like, you know, it's a piece of me. I don't want to, can't separate myself. I suppose I could make prints, but I haven't really gotten around to doing that either. So, you know, maybe that's something I'll try this year. But anyway, so I did, you know, have 2 commissions, and it was actually 5 portraits of people in those 2 commissions. So I think she was happy with it. I need to contact her and see how they liked them. They were Christmas gifts, and Christmas has passed, so maybe I just need to give her an email or text and see how. She said she wanted to let me know how they liked them, but we're all busy, so I'll have to see how they liked them. So I want to do more of those, even though it's stressful. It's stressful. Like, this young woman came to my house several times and through emails and photos was able to help me to take the pictures that the photos that I had that, you know, were from different times of the people's lives, and I had to combine them, and, you know, she was able to say, oh no, that's not how I remember him. He would be more like that picture. So it was, you know, but to tell you the truth, you've got, when you do something like this for someone, make sure you set yourself up with a contract, make sure that, you know, maybe make sure they can at least give you some money up front, or like I said, a contract. I didn't. I was lucky this time, but, you know, if you've ever watched Judge Judy, you want to make sure that you get things in writing. And she was great. You know, I did 2 of them for her. She paid me as I did them, so that was good. And her mom used to live here in this community where I live, so, you know, she was kind of like a, but that can even happen. I mean, I know people that have, you know, they'll do a piece for someone, they'll spend all that time, they'll spend all that money on the supplies, and then the person doesn't even respond, or they'll just say, I don't like it. And then you've wasted, you know, your time is valuable. It's your talent, it's your gift, right? You're not going to go to a car dealer and have them just, you know, hey, yeah, well, you can take the car, you know, yeah, we'll take your other car and trade later. I mean, things don't happen that way in real life. Okay, so here's my flower. Okay, now that's shaded with the colored pencil, and now I'm going to do the leaves and the shadows with the leaves and stem, and I'm still going to use those same 2 colors. So I'm going to show you here. I'll take the blue this time first and put some shadow underneath this flower. And if you're not sure where the shadows are, you can, you know, go online, look for a picture of a flower like this is a camellia. So you could look for a camellia and look for the shadows, but I like to just put the shadows underneath things to make it look 3D. So I go around the edges here. I figure the sun's coming from this direction, so I'm going to get a shadow here. Or maybe the sun's coming from up here. Yeah, because I'm not going to really put a shadow back there. I like it here. And, you know, some shadow along all these little folds. And you can just, I'll tell you, I really enjoy working on things like that with other people around, which is the perfect thing for with our art club, because, you know, everybody comes and sometimes we have projects, but other times we just bring something to work on. You know, maybe you're working on a painting, or you're working on a drawing, or you're just sketching preliminaries from photographs that you've taken or from your imagination. Maybe you just need to cut up a lot of paper, you know, cut things out of magazines for collage or whatever. And so not bringing an entire huge project up to work on, you can just throw some things in a bag and go up and just enjoy working with other people around. It's really fun. So this preliminary shading, if you're working with, say, watercolor or anything, oils, acrylics, you can do an underpainting like this of the shadows. And then when you go back with your watercolor or other paints or gouache or whatever, you might just, bye, going to the golf, the golf, don't talk because you're on video.
That's nice.
Thanks. So, now, I was saying, this is a base for any kind of medium. You can do the shading first. You might even cover it up later, but it gives you a foundation of where to put your shadows. And I'm a pretty fast painter, and sometimes I feel like, you know, maybe if I slowed down, I would enjoy acrylic painting more. I really don't enjoy acrylic painting or oils. I think it's the brush thing, although I do love watercolor. But I tend to use things that feel more like a pencil, like pastel. I love pastel. So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent again. So there you can see my shading, okay? Now, I'm going to take a marker, and I'm going to use I've got some pretty new markers. This one's almond milk. Look at that color. So pretty. Prismacolors are my favorite. Okay, so I'm going to take, pardon me, looking for a blending pen. Okay, your clear blender. Okay, clear blender. And you can refill these. Yes, you can. You can refill these. So I'm just going to take the blending pen, which is just pretty much, I refill these with alcohol. And I'm going to go over my pencil with little circular motions, and this will blend those together. Try not to shake the table too much. My camera is sitting on the table. Now, this isn't the only thing you can use. You can use a paper stump. Paper stump like this. And you can use some mineral spirits. Like, this is my mineral spirits. And just dip the paper stump in the mineral spirits. Kitty's crying, wants some company. Oh my gosh, I gotta slow down. I'm shaking this table. Something fierce. I have 2 kitties. They are such company. But George was never a cat person because when he was a kid, he got bit by a rabid cat. And he had to have those shots across his belly. I didn't know they did that. So he did not like cats. But one day, when I was working at a store decorating cakes, back in the day, here in Florida, I brought home a kitten. And George fell in love. We had a German Shepherd, and that cat and that dog became the best of friends. They slept together. Just amazing. The dog's passed now, and so is that cat, and we have 2 other cats, and now George, I mean, when we go on a vacation, we have someone come to the house and take care of them twice a day. When I was a kid, we had cats. You just threw a big roasting pan of food, and a big bowl of water, and they fended for themselves until you got back. But no, these days it's different with pets, and our pets are spoiled. And my friend Donna takes really good care of them. When we're away, she sends us pictures, and it's just amazing. She is one amazing person, and she's an artist too. So, you can see how this looks once you add the mineral spirits, or you can use a blending pen. Some people say you can use baby oil, but you know what? I'm not sure how that baby oil dries. What happens with this is, I'm going to flip this over, and you can see a bit of the mineral spirits, but it dries really quickly. I mean, look how much I've done. And it's not really saturated or anything, so. Can you see? Okay. Yeah, so. Coloring this. I'm just dipping into my jar of mineral spirits and blending in little circles. Oh, I used a lot of it there. Just to show you, I'm going to show you then. There, see where I used a lot? It's still not hurting the paper at all. So this is how I start my process with my stamps, because I like to include the color images so that you can make really quick projects using these. Oh yeah, we did some, I might have mentioned this before, we did some the woodworkers here do cradles every year for Toys for Tots, and every year the art club members volunteer to decorate or paint or whatever the cradles. And we've had some amazing creative jobs done on those cradles. So this year I decided I just wanted to use what I already had, and I just cut out some of my stamped images after I ran them off good sized, and I decoupaged them on. I used my koi pond set, my koi fish, and my lily pads, and it was great because, like I said, I'm not really into painting with acrylic, and so I was able to just cut, which to me, I love to cut, okay? I love to cut. Fussy cutting is not a problem for me. It's like therapy to me. I could just sit there and cut in front of the TV and, you know, have things ready for later. That way, I don't mind cutting. So cutting, I just sat there, like I said, in the art club with all the other people that were there working on stuff, all different kinds of things at the same time. And after I cut it all out, decoupaging it to the cradle was like a no-brainer. I just was able to slap those babies on that cradle and I was done. Okay, so I missed that part before, so I went back in and I colored it again. And you can also, even after you add color, if you want it to be darker in some areas, like say you really want a dark area in here, you can go ahead over and add more color. Doesn't matter. Just keeping your touch light. You don't want to burnish the color in at this point. Burnishing means really pressing it in and getting a shiny finish, you know, burnishing it in. That's like that would be your last step. If you were going to burnish at all, you would do that last. Whoops, a little bit more of that. Yeah, that's good. so we should have some definition now. There you go. So I'm going to put my mineral spirits away. Again, keeping it in a nice little jar. I love my little jars and plates. And see, that stuff's close enough where I can just reach it. So I'm okay with that part of this room, but not the whole thing. Okay, so here, yeah, if you watched my last video, I was talking about how I'm going to move to another room soon across the hall. And so some things are right now handy, some are not. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with colored markers. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my middle color. So that would be Dusty Rose. And I'm just going to commit the color to my flower and go over it. And once you have all that shading in, this is easy. Then I'm going to go and add some of my lighter, brand new markers up here, just a little lighter. Okay, up to there. Not much of a difference, but a bit. Okay, that's pretty. And then I'm just doing one petal at a time just to show you. And this is the darker color, which I can put right over that shading. As you see, and there's one petal. Okay. So let's do that again. We'll start with the middle color. And I'm leaving, you know, my lighter areas. So that little tiny bit right there, that's going to be light. And I'm figuring, you know, like maybe like that. Because there's a little bit of a dip there. You can tell by that line that I put there. So I'll color this lighter here and here. These colors are very close to each other, so it's easy to, and I automatically cover my markers in between. I just snap the colors back on. And then I have my darkest color again. And I'm going over my shadows with this darker color. Oh, so pretty. So there's a bend here, so you can see that's darker under there. Okay, and this is darker. And actually down here is darker. And so now once I get the hang of it, I know this is going to be darker, you know. Just go over those dark areas with the color. See? And once you get that down, it's very soothing coloring at this point. So because you did all the preliminary shadows, you're good. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to take a sip of my coffee in a minute. Okay, so here's my mid-tone again. And you can go over and over if it doesn't look blended enough to you in an area. You can just go over. Now these are alcohol-based markers too. So if you use alcohol inks, these would go great with your alcohol inks. And then I can go around and just kind of blend the edges. And also remember, you can go back and add more. You can go back and add more color, sure. But you can also take away color, which I'll show you in a moment. Now I'm going to move to the leaf just so that you can see how these shadows still work when you use them with something other than a color that's in the same color family. What I mean is this peachy pink color looks good with that, with the cat, what's the name of that red I like? Crimson red pencil. So this is going to be picking up more of the blue. It's going to be a green leaf, but it's going to pick up that blue shadow Watch. I'm going to use greens. Okay, so I don't think I got myself any new greens. What's this one? That's cream. Isn't that pretty? That might look really pretty in a leaf. Hold on. We also have, and I don't have a color chart for these. I've used these for years and I just have never made a color chart. I probably need to do that. So here's cream, right? This one is avocado. Look at that. And then this one is light olive green. So, but when you put them like that, look how this one stands out as a cooler. These are warm together. This one's too cool. Let's see what else I have. I sound like my granddaughter. She's 9 months old. Okay, I need to order some more greens, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead with these two and see what we get. So let me start with the lighter one. Okay, this is, let's see what happens. Cream, and I'm just going to color because I wanna make it vintagey looking. So I'm gonna use this cream as my first color, which isn't even a green. But I like how it looks with the avocado. So don't worry about putting yourself in any kind of box, you know, the leaf has to be green. Nope, this one's gonna have cream. And this cream may be something that I can use to pull the flower and the leaf together by adding some cream in here. Look at that. Yeah, I can add some cream. Ooh, okay. I get excited when I mix colors sometimes. Okay. Okay. So there's the cream, okay? And we have this leaf over here as well. So I might as well kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. I'll put that there. Oops, I'm gonna move that up for you so you can see it hitting my computer screen. Circles. See, I'm coloring with circles. Okay. I like it already. And I'm also going to put some down on this. And some on my stem. Now, because this is an alcohol marker and it's light, I mean, I can go over this, so it's not hurting anything to do this. Oh, I just love that. How exciting. Okay. That's cream. Now I'm going to move on. I think, let's just go for it. We're going to try the avocado. Now there's a difference in those differentiation. Can you see how the colors aren't exactly, you know, close together, so you get kind of a line. So what I'm going to do is go back to my yellow and just go around the edges of the green and the yellow, like that. And let's just saturate the whole thing with some alcohol marker. And when you saturate it so that it goes through to the other side, then it's easier to blend the colors. Okay, that's the, almost back to the cream. Now I'm going to go back to some of this green. And back to my yellow. Look how pretty. Okay, so now let's add some of that light olive green. And I'm going to add that in the shadows. Right over those shaded areas. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. Let me just get one of my pieces of plastic to use. Save these from my local restaurant when I bring home leftovers, my pizza restaurant that I love to go to. That's it. And I'm going to scribble some of the light olive green into the plastic. I'm making a palette. Now, alcohol inks, they're kind of like watercolors in the fact that you can reconstitute them, or whatever the word is, bring them back to life. With watercolors, you would add water, but with this, we're going to use a marker in a lighter color and pick up the ink. So I'm going to go here. I'll put it right here. I'm going to use my lighter marker. This is my avocado marker, and I'm going to pick up some of the ink, and I can blend here from one color to the other. I've created myself a new color. You just start at the darker and work toward the light. And blend. Okay. Okay. I think it still needs more dark. So I'm going to go back in with the dark again and go in here. Some more dark. Bring it in further. I don't want a light leaf. I want a dark leaf. It's a little bit too light for me. I'm not going to worry too much about it. No, I'm not. So I'm going to show you, after I do this, how to remove color, okay? So let's just go ahead and finish the sleeve. Now you may be wondering why I am still doing the layers of color here when I'm going to color it completely over with the darker olive green. Well, the reason is, well, you'll see what the reason is when I show you. I want to saturate this paper with color. That's one thing. So now the green. So there's different ways. You could do this, or you could do it the way I first showed you, where you blend the colors into each other. But this is a different way, because this leaf is, you know, it's a leaf. It's not really the focal point of this piece of work here, but we still want it to be interesting. So I tend to use the smaller end of my marker most of the time, unless I'm just, you know, not being real creative. I just want to fill something in. Then I'll use the other end. After I make an outline with this end of the marker, I'll turn it over and use this end. Always be careful though with your markers when you're opening and closing them over your work, because if you drop this on your work, yeah, you know what's going to happen. Okay, so now I'm going to take my lightest marker, or you can take a clear blender, and we're going to add some texture and remove some color from the sleeve. So first of all, I want light. Oh, and one thing you also want to do is put underneath this piece a piece of scrap paper, which is also, oh, floor under my work. Okay. And that's not a clean piece. It's actually a scrap piece that's got stuff printed on the other side. So what you do is just slowly, slowly draw over your darker marker with the lighter marker. And what happens is the alcohol in the marker dilutes the color, taking it to a lighter color. Now that's with the light this is the cream marker. Let me show you what happens when I use the, first I gotta make sure it's clean. Okay, this is just alcohol in this blending pen. And this is an older blending pen. I've filled it several times, so the tip's a little bit not so great, but that's how you do this. You can also use the other end, which has the bullet tip, and that will give you, if you use the edge of it, it will give you a really nice line. You can be very delicate too with removing the ink. Nice and slow. Now, you don't want to scrub the paper because you'll remove the tooth, and you could start removing the paper, and you don't want to do that. So just take your time, and you can press harder or lift and get a finer line, as you can see here. So what happens is it's more of a textured, painterly look than simply blending the edges. And I just love this technique. I just think it is just so much fun and so pretty. Some almost call this painting with alcohol markers. You're painting by removing color. And it's kind of the same idea as like Yupo, but Yupo, which is a plastic synthetic paper and is non-porous, is a little harder to control what happens. And I've not been a fan of Yupo, being the kind of artist I am. I don't know, maybe if I had more practice with it. I've used it a few times, but there are people who are really, you know, great at working with Yupo. Maybe I just need to give myself more time. So there you go. Look at that. Look at that. Huh? Isn't that cool? All right. Now, you can also add texture with this. Even here, you know, just some light marks. Because I believe in being a bit of consistency to give your picture, you know, harmony. You want to, if you're going to use this technique down there, maybe add a little bit of it in your flower by just removing some of the color. Like that. Okay, and that gives your flower petals, oops, a bit of translucency, like a flower petal would have. I hope I did that where you can see it. Let me do some more on this leaf. And I'm using the edge of my chisel point. There is a brush tip that you can get these markers in also. I'm not really a fan of the brush tip. It just doesn't fit my style. But that doesn't mean it's not for someone else, or they wouldn't even be offering it, you know. And here's the completed Camellia.